Good morning. I have been working on figuring out how to cut down trees. I've cut down some small ones and, figuring out, I did some research online, of course, and it talked about doing the wedge on the side that you want the tree to fall on, and that is because that when you have that wedge, it creates a weight toward that side. So there's a boundary here that's flat or slanted the other direction, so that the tree can't just bend in that direction. If it's straight, if the tree's straight up, then it will bend toward the wedge. And so I've cut down a few small trees. I've got some stumps over there. And so I started working on, I've got 2 down today. I am using a chainsaw. I'm not trying to do this by hand. I took that one out over there. I'll show you that one in a minute. But I did the wedge toward the side that the tree fell on, so that's correct. And I only have a 10-inch chainsaw. And this tree is about 12 inches in diameter. So I cut in from the back as well as I could, and then I cut in from the sides and then tried to kind of hollow it out. You can see that the middle was the part that wasn't cut. And then I realized I had cut here all the way through to the wedge on this edge through the bark. And then I realized that was a major mistake, because it would mean that there was a piece of wood here that was still unconnected, and it would fall toward the neighbor's house, which is not what I want. So I cut through that and then cut out another wedge here on this side to try to get it to fall in that direction. Now, this tree wasn't straight. It was actually leaning a little bit toward the neighbor's house, so I wanted to make sure that it fell in the right direction. And it did. So let me take you over to the other one. So I'm learning, it's a learning process. And these are trees that are far away from the house, so I'm not concerned if they accidentally fall in the wrong direction, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this one I made a different kind of mistake. This is a red cedar, and it was probably, 50 feet tall, something like that. And I'll be cutting it up in the next couple of days. I don't know whether we'll use it for firewood. I may actually offer this one to a woodworker somewhere, or someone who wants to do smoking with cedar or something. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But I made a different mistake with this one. So I wanted the tree to fall that way. There's a nice clear area. There's no buildings, no other trees. That's the direction I wanted it to fall. So I did the wedge. Nice little wedge. Right direction. I actually undercut it and did it slanted in both directions. Okay, great. That's going to fall. And then I realized that this tree was leaning hard in that direction. And so let's adjust this, right? Let's adjust this and figure out how to make it fall in the direction that I want. So when I did the back cut, I did it slanted, hoping that you can see the shape of the wedge. It's essentially a wedge here and a wedge here. But when I did the back cut, I did it slanted so it would hold the tree there, and the only way it would be able to fall is in the other direction. So I cut, and I heard it crack. Okay, so back off. Nothing moving. I had a big, long rope, very long. I tried to pull it over. It wasn't budging. And let's try some more. Cut some more. Heard it crack. Back off. Move away. Try to get the tree to go over in the direction that I wanted it to go, which was that way. And it wouldn't go. And then I realized, finally, that the weight of the tree was holding it. This cut right here was holding it upright. It was severe enough, it was slanted enough that it was holding the tree upright even though the weight of the tree was pulling it in this direction. So so I left it because I knew it was mostly cut. I didn't want it falling. Didn't want it falling on me. Didn't want it falling on, you know, whatever. And so I just left it. And when I came out this morning, it had started to lean, and there was a wide gap, probably about 1/2 inch at the front, or at the, yeah, it was about 1/2 inch. The tree, right, was actually a gap right here, but there was still some of the wood holding it, so I was able to cut through it and make it fall. But it did fall in the other direction. It didn't fall in the direction I wanted it to. It fell in the direction gravity told it to. But anyway, it was interesting that because I did that back cut slanted, it held the tree up. It was enough that the tree could not fall in that backward direction. So anyway, learning process. These are the last 2 of the major trees that I will be taking out. There will be other things, but these are the last 2 that I will be taking out here. I'm not sure that I want to keep the red cedar, which is actually a juniper. I'm not sure that I want to keep the red cedar for firewood, but we shall see. It's actually really nice wood. It would be interesting to see. It smells wonderful. You can see the sawdust. It smells perfect. It smells like cedar. So I will check. I'll probably end up checking. I'm not sure. Let me rephrase that. I'm not sure I want this cedar as firewood, just because it has a high level of oils, and I don't want the creosote building up inside the stovepipes. So we'll think about it, but in the next couple of days I'm going to be taking these out, taking all the major limbs off, and cutting these up for firewood. There we go. One back there, one here. I took out a couple over on the other side that were too close to one was too close to the power pole. The other was too close to one of the other trees, but you know, just cleaning up a little bit at a time. And this back here, where a big pile of brush got taken out, and I'm actually tempted to do a major part of this west end, but we'll start with this section. I took the tree out, and now that tree's going to stay because it shades the house. So this big area right here is all going to be next year's in-ground garden. So I'm going to cover it with cardboard, hopefully I'll be able to get a couple of loads of wood chips, cover it with wood chips, and have that ready to grow next year. There are a couple of things that I will be doing in here, or trying to do in here, to make it more drought tolerant, but I will talk about that later.